ain't pretty, sir, but I can cook. What this widow told the Hell's Angels will break you. The rain didn't just fall that night, it chased her. 3 towns, 2 hungry children, 1 last prayer. By the time Diana Vale reached the edge of Greywater Bend, the storm had become a living thing, snapping at her heels. She stopped at the sight of the roaring Harleys, chrome and thunder lined in a row outside a red timber clubhouse. A neon sign flickered above the door, Hell's Angels, Greywater Chapter. Her hands trembled as she pushed the wet hair from her face. The boy clung to her coat. The girl hid against her side. Her voice was small but unshaken. I ain't pretty, sir, she said, but I can cook. Work will feed me. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still rides on 2 wheels, please subscribe to our channel, like this story, and share it with a friend who needs a little faith in humanity. Now let's ride into the storm together. Owen Forge Mercer, Captain Soldier Outlaw, stood beneath the awning, cigarette ember glowing against the rain. His eyes were iron, his voice gravel. What's your name? Diana Vale, she whispered. Inside, the clubhouse smelled of oil, smoke, and stale laughter. It was a place built for noise, but for once silence ruled. You said you can cook, Forge asked. Yes, sir. Ran a diner back in Shawnee. Before her voice broke. She didn't finish. Forge flicked his cigarette into the mud. Kitchen's through that door. Show me. Diana didn't wait. She tied on an apron that wasn't hers and began to work. The sound of onions hitting hot iron filled the air, the smell of bacon and butter melting into smoke. Her children helped, Ivy peeling potatoes, Milo stirring beans with both arms. The men pretended not to watch, but every eye in the room followed her. When Big Ron took the first bite, his eyes went wide. Hell, he grinned. We might just keep her. Forge didn't smile, but the edge in his eyes softened. You start tomorrow, he said. And just like that, a starving widow found work among outlaws. Days bled into weeks. Diana's hands became part of the rhythm of the clubhouse, washing, chopping, feeding the men who'd forgotten gentleness. They called her Miss Vale. Voices careful, eyes lowered, but Greywater Bend was a small town, and small towns whisper loud. A widow living with bikers? No shame. She ignored it, until one morning she found white trash angels sprayed across her diner door. By sunrise, it was gone. Forge and his crew had scrubbed it clean in silence. When she arrived, Forge was leaning on his bike. Looks better, he said. You did this? Someone had to, she smiled faintly. They'll talk worse now. Let 'em, Forge said. They've been talking about us for years, and we're still here. Then came the rock. Thrown through her diner window by drunk laughter, her children screamed. Glass shattered like thunder. Before she could even move, engines split the night. 6 Harleys roared down the street. Forge dismounted first. You boys lost? He asked, voice low. Just teaching Charity a lesson? One sneered. Forge didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Then you just taught yourselves one instead. No blood, no noise. Just fear. When it was done, he turned to Diana. You and the kids okay? She nodded, tears streaking dust. Later that night, she found him by the fire, wrapping his cut hand in a dish towel. You'll make it worse like that, she murmured, taking it from him. Didn't ask to be patched, he said. Didn't ask to be fed either, she smiled, but you took my stew. He laughed, small, rough and real. By spring, Diana had become the soul of the clubhouse. It no longer smelled of beer and smoke, but of coffee, bread, and home. When her rent was raised and the landlord pushed her out, Forge came back by noon with a key. Cabin by Miller's Creek, he said. It's yours till you're steady, she cried. Not from weakness, but because kindness had become a stranger, and here it was again wearing leather and scars. That night, the angels helped move her things. Laughter echoed under the pines. For a few hours they weren't outlaws, just family, but Greywater Bend wasn't done with its cruelty. By Sunday, someone nailed a sign to her diner. Sinners, cooks, angels. When Forge saw it, he tore it down barehanded. You're scaring folks, Captain, the sheriff warned. Good, Forge said quietly. Maybe they'll think before they tear down someone trying to live. That night, Diana sat by her fire, tears falling like confession. They'll never let me belong. Then we'll make our own place, Forge said. The next evening, 80 Harleys rolled into town. Not for revenge, but for truth. Engines idled, then went silent. The angels picked up brushes and soap. They scrubbed her diner clean, repainted the walls, fixed the window. No yelling, no fight, just men who refused to let kindness be mocked. The townsfolk watched in silence. Even the pastor crossed the street. "Bless this house," he whispered. Forge looked at Diana. "That's your name on that door. Miss Vale, nobody takes it again." Months later, Vale's kitchen opened, the first diner in Greywater Bend to feed anyone hungry, rich or poor. Every Sunday the angels rode in 80 strong, engines rumbling like applause. Diana moved between tables, smile soft but sure. The pastor ate beside bikers. The sheriff tipped extra, and for once the whole town broke bread together. That night she stood on her porch by Miller's Creek, her children asleep against her shoulders. A single Harley echoed in the distance. "I ain't pretty, sir," she whispered to the stars. "But I can cook," and the night held her gently, a widow, a mother and a woman who found angels in leather jackets. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. Every click helps us bring more stories of hope, courage, and kindness to the world. Because sometimes, the loudest hearts ride on two wheels.